Yo, what is up, guys? How we doing? Yeah, I like I was saying, I've been waiting all year to like look back at the season in depth, discuss it all, do some tier lists. Personally, for me, I'm going to put Bahrain in A tier. I don't think it was, obviously, it was nowhere near one of the best Grand Prix of the year. For me, it was a top tier Grand Prix. I mean, looking back at it now, we had the fight between the McLarens and the Ferraris and the good midfield battle. We also had what was one of the only Grand Prix where Max and Lewis actually battled on track. They didn't battle in the timing sheet. They battled on track. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a Grand Prix where they weren't near each other on track. They were near each other. The whole Grand Prix was leading up to that last few laps. Who's going to win the race? Good entertainment. We obviously had to have the controversial moment as well. And for me, I'm going to put it in A tier. I thought it was very, very, very good, and it set up the rest of the year. And I'm just taking Grand Prix as a whole, the Grand Prix weekend as a whole. You know what I mean? So for me, my enjoyment of the Grand Prix weekend is all the news that comes out, the storylines leading into the race. Obviously, the most important is the race entertainment itself. Was I entertained? Qualifying a little bit. And for me, obviously, I do every single race on stream for a watch along. So if I enjoy the vibes of the people, the vibes of the stream, then it might bump it up high because, like, maybe I on stream, me and my chat really enjoyed a race, but you might have watched it by yourself and didn't enjoy it. So that's how I'm doing my basis. So Bahrain for me, A tier, not the best, but it was very, very definitely one of the best Grand Prix of the season. You guys have voted it to be A. So we've got no one voting S, a few B, and mainly on A. So I will move Bahrain up to A for you guys as well. All right, samesies, let's go. Oh, this is a tough one for me. Because I do feel as a whole, that was a fantastic Grand Prix weekend. We had a fantastic qualifying, seven drivers from 5 different teams, all fighting it out. I still think that was one of the best Grand Prix of the year. We then had a damp start, very interesting, a lot going on, a lot of drama. We did have a few laps of nothing really happening, and then the ending, having Lewis coming through the field, the battle between Leclerc and Norris. I really want to put it as an S-, but I think I'm going to put it in A for now. What have you guys got it as? Oh my god, it's a tie! All right, we need one more vote. Well, actually, no, we don't. We don't need one more vote because the poll's now done. Reason why we don't need another vote is because there are obviously 6 votes in S. So it's going to go in A, Emilia Romagna. But is it higher or lower than Bahrain? More, it's quite 50-50. I'm not going to lie, it's quite 50-50. But I think I've seen more highs. So we've both got the same tier list right now. Portuguese Grand Prix. I may reconsider, but I think this was my least favorite Grand Prix of the year. Not only is it D for me, but it is probably the worst Grand Prix of the year. Like, I'm just having a quick scrub through right now, and I can't think of a Grand Prix that was worse for me. From qualifying being meh, and the negative track evolution, meaning we got, a boring end to Q3. No overtaking. A lot of overtaking, but not really any battles. All the overtaking was just into the same fucking corner. We had, 2 race starts because of the safety car? A race start and then a safety car restart? It was just... I barely remember what happened. So yeah, for me, it's got to be down in D. And not only in D, but probably my least favorite Grand Prix. We'll finish the poll there. And we will put Portugal, where is it? Portugal in D. So yeah, tier list is looking very the same right now. But I'm sure it will mix up as we go along. So, the Spanish Grand Prix. I ain't gonna lie. From what I remember, the Spanish Grand Prix wasn't as bad as I thought. I think it was a little bit for me. It was the fact of how boring the Spanish Grand Prix was in the past made that Grand Prix better. We had a qualifying, and we had a race that was really good strategic battle between the Red Bull and the Mercedes. I remember the whole race, I was thinking who is gonna win. Part of me wants to put it in B because I don't think it was a bad Grand Prix, but when I think it's only one tear off of Emilia and Bahrain, I kind of want to move it down to C. 55% of you think C, so we'll move Spain into C. We've got the same tier list, guys! I guess we just, great minds think alike, am I right? It is time to do our vote for the Monaco Grand Prix. I generally don't know what to do for this. I don't know what to do because part of me enjoyed this Grand Prix. I loved qualifying. Hands down, probably top 3 qualifyings of the season. The race wasn't great, but it had a lot of great moments. A lot of people all over the shop. I think I'm personally going to put the Grand Prix weekend as a whole in B. Just personally. Very spread. Again, I assumed we were going to have a Grand Prix like this. So C wins. Higher or lower than Spain? So Spain lower than Spain. All right, our tier lists are finally different. Oh my lord. This is another one that's hard for me to rank, honestly, because I think it was a fantastic Grand Prix. Best of the season. fun. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes down to narrowing down, seeing the contrast between Baku and Emilia and Bahrain, I've definitely got to put Baku in S. It was definitely a top Grand Prix of the weekend. Qualifying was nuts. A lot of crashes. I mean, we obviously don't want crashes, but when they do happen, it is quite entertaining. For me, I've definitely got to put it in S tier. The poll will end it there, and you guys have voted very split between S and A, but it's made itself into S. So we got our first. You guys have got your first one in S. Congratulations. I know that people aren't going to agree with me on this. This was an S tier Grand Prix. And not only was it an S tier Grand Prix for me, but it was also better than Baku. One of my favorite races of the season. Reason being, qualifying was pretty good. It wasn't anything too crazy, but the race was perfect. It had a battle between the two championship rivals. The whole race, they were always on each other's tail the whole time. Max made that mistake at the start. He chased him down the whole race. The two stop was fucking fantastic. Midfield overtakes everywhere. And the best part was no safety car, no red flag, and we got a battle the entire time. We had overtakes the entire time. It was one of the few Grand Prix this year where we didn't need some over dramatic bullshit, controversy, safety car, red flag for it to be a top tier Grand Prix. And that's for me why I voted S. I just remember watching this Grand Prix and feeling so excited for the rest of the season. 37 votes, and you guys have voted A. So another different decision from me. Worse, better. Better. All right, we're going with better. All right, we'll go with better then. I think there's just slightly more betters there. All right, I don't know what to put this. I'm tossing up between B, C. I don't think it was one of the worst of the year. I think it wasn't a bad race, but also nothing really happened. I think I'm going to put Spain higher, purely off of the fact that I didn't know who was going to win the Spanish Grand Prix until the last 5 laps. I'm going to put Spain higher. C it is for you guys. Now, we've got 2 other things in C. So, worse. All right, so Styria is worse than Monaco. For me, I don't know what to rank it. I think B. Qualifying was very, very good. Some good battles. A lot of dramatic moments with the off-track stuff. The interesting ending with Hamilton breaking his wing. Yeah, there wasn't a good battle for the lead, but I think it was a good race. Do I think it was better than Monaco? I'm going to have to say yes. I think qualifying was better at Monaco, but I think, yeah, the race was better for Austria here. So let's move the Austrian Grand Prix up to B for you guys. I think it was a great Grand Prix, like entertaining wise, right? I think a lot of the controversial Grand Prix were entertaining. Like, let's not joke around. Having the crash, having the drama, having the controversy, you know, the Claire on P1 for 50 laps. It was entertaining as fuck. I'm personally going to put it in B, although I think I am going to put it above Monaco and Austria. You guys have voted Britain to go into B. Finally, we made a decision. The British Grand Prix for you guys is worse than Austria. I personally put it higher. Now, my ranking of the Hungarian Grand Prix, it's 100% an S. It's got to be. It was definitely on the same par as Baku and France for me. For me, these two are like neck and neck. I think I'm going to put Hungary higher than France. For now. Hungary. S tier for you guys. So you've only got one other. You guys have only got one other one in S tier right now, and that's Baku. Hungarian Grand Prix better than Baku. There we go. All right, guys. The Belgium Grand Prix, even though we only had qualifying and 3 hours of red flag, it was better than the Portuguese Grand Prix for me. The 3 hours of red flag, sitting on the stream, chatting with you guys, having a good time, laughing at what the fuck was happening, controversy. It was enjoyable. But at the end of the day, we didn't get a race, and we were robbed of a race, and the frustration from this weekend was a lot. So I don't think it's fair to put it above 2 races that happened. You guys have voted C, so we're going to put Spa in the C category. Damn, you guys have got 4 votes for C. Was the Belgian Grand Prix better or worse than Austria? All right, we got 4 votes for worse, so I'm assuming we're going to leave it there. 5. All right, we're going to leave it there. For me, I'm a bit iffy about this one. I definitely don't think it was the worst of the season. I don't think it's a D. Ultimately, the Grand Prix was very forgetful. It very much reminded me of the Styrian Grand Prix. And I've got to put it in C personally. Do I think it was better than the Spanish Grand Prix? This is tough because I personally enjoyed watching the fight between Max and Lewis at Spain. Yeah, I feel like I was a bit more on the edge of my seat at Spain, waiting to see who won in those final, waiting till the final 5 laps. Whereas at Netherlands, it was more like I was enjoying the atmosphere and the cars going around the track more than the race itself. So for that, I'm going to put it above Styria, but below Spain. So Dutch Grand Prix, we've gone different here. Dutch Grand Prix into B. Now, do you guys rank it, the Dutch Grand Prix, higher or lower than the British Grand Prix? Worse has won. Also, to be fair, I would also put a vote on worse. So, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough. I'm gonna have way too many in S. I've kind of got. I feel like I need to make a new tier. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna put the Italian Grand Prix in A. Reason being, I think it was a fantastic weekend. I mean, qualifying was good. The race was good. The sprint was because fucking sprints. But the race, not much really happened. You could say the same with Baku, really. Italy kind of had this similar route. We had the interesting first few laps. We had the dramatic, Lewis and Max crash. But we didn't have that dramatic ending. Fantastic ending, don't get me wrong. Fucking 2 McLarens on 1-2. Daniel Ricciardo back on top. So I think for that reason, I'm going to put an A. But it's obviously going to be above Bahrain and Emilia. You guys have put Monza above Emilia. So we're getting a bit of a difference in the tier list right now. Russia Grand Prix, for me, no thinking about it. Straight up to the top. Best Grand Prix of the year for me. Spoiler alert. I don't think any other Grand Prix here is going to beat it out. Who would have thought coming into 2021, if you had told me the best 3 Grand Prix this year will be Russia, Hungary, and France, I wouldn't have believed you. I don't think you can have a better Grand Prix than this. We're keeping Russia at number 1. So we both agree Russia was the best Grand Prix of the year. So for me, I don't know what I'm going to rank it. I think it was a good Grand Prix, but I don't think it was that great. I might put it below Silverstone. I think again, at the end of the day, all of these in B for me, I kind of felt the same. I kind of came away feeling entertained. You know what? I might put Turkey below Austria. I'm going with that. 27 votes. We'll wrap the poll up there. You guys have voted B, same as me. Turkish GP better than the Netherlands straight off the gates. I don't think it would be fair to put USA in B. I don't think it deserves to be in B. I mean, Silverstone, Austria. Again, these 4 are so even. I can't decide between these 4. And USA is just clear of all these 4. It's got to go in A. A it is for USA. Worse than the Bahrain Grand Prix. Interesting. Okay, so for me, when I'm looking at these Grand Prix, Mexico feels more like a C for me than a B. Qualifying was alright. Not much drama. Or no drama at all, really. Not much overtaking. Nothing really happened in the midfield at all. So yeah, I think I'm going to move up to B. But yeah, honestly, B minus for me. You guys have voted for B. Quite a lot of votes for A, though. I'm surprised. All right, we're going to put Mexico in B. Done. Worse. So Mexican Grand Prix was worse than Turkey. All right, you guys have solidified it. There you go. This is a tough one for me because I think it was a great Grand Prix, but I also don't think it was fantastic. I don't know how to explain it. For me, I don't think I can put Brazil in S considering we had 40 laps of literally fucking nothing. I loved watching Lewis put on a show, but yeah, for me, I can't go in S. So it's going to be an A. Over to your guys' tier list. We're going to finish the poll there with 38 votes. You guys have voted A. A for Brazil. That's a big difference. I put it at the top of A and you guys put it all the way down at the bottom of A. Anyways, that's your guys' vote. That's your guys' vote. Brazil at the bottom of A. Alrighty, I guess. Okay, for me, this is a hard one. Let's rule it out quickly. Is it S? Hell no. Is it A? I don't think so. It's not on par with these guys. Was it better than Netherlands? Yep. Was it better than Spain? Yep. So I think I've got to settle for it in B. But where in B? Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna put Qatar above Austria, but below Britain. Okay, over to your guys' votes though. If you haven't yet, get your votes into the poll. Another Grand Prix in B. Qatar worse than the Austrian Grand Prix. Off of entertainment, for me, this has to go in S tier. I was thoroughly entertained. One of the best qualifyings of the year. I fucking loved it. Like, props to the broadcast for what they did. And just the act, everything, the drama and everything else that happened in qualifying was nuts. And in the race, I mean, we had 3 race restarts. The drama, the controversy, like, it was sour, but I was entertained as fuck. And so for me, it's going to go in S tier and above Azerbaijan. We're going to finish the poll there. You guys put Saudi Arabia in A tier. You guys are happy with the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix being worse than Monza. Okay, Abu Dhabi, final Grand Prix of the year. I'm doing this off of entertainment, and for me, I've got to put an S. And honestly, it's got to go above Baku as well. Is it going to go above Saudi Arabia? No. It seems crazy having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Grand Prix in S, but for me, that's honestly what it was. Have that many Grand Prix that made me feel peak emotion, peak excitement. It's just crazy how good this season was. And then another 5 in A tier? It's mad. Vote on chat. What do you rank the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix? You guys have voted S, but where does it go in S? All right, we're in the poll there. Worst is winning. All right, well, that's your guys' tier list done. Ours was similar in some aspects, but also very different. I mean, I think the biggest change was me having Saudi Arabia in S, you guys having it in A, me having Brazil top of A, you guys had it bottom of A. I had Monaco in B, you guys had Monaco in C. You guys had Netherlands in B, I had it in C. So, nice.
I've been drinking Kool-Aid cameras like I did when I was 9, 'cause I like to pretend that I haven't lost the time. In the end, the nostalgia, though it tastes fine, I can only drink a couple 'cause it feels like a lie.